Mass shootings have become an all-too-frequent occurrence in the United States, leaving a trail of devastation and heartbreak in their wake. In recent years, the country has witnessed some of the deadliest shootings in its history, with innocent lives lost and communities left shattered. Regrettably, shootings has become a part of the American society, which has become an all-too-familiar occurrence. During the Route 91 Harvest Festival in October 2017, Stephen Craig Paddock fired upon a crowd from his 32nd floor room at the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino, causing widespread chaos and panic among the attendees who attempted to find shelter while uncertain of the shooter's location. The deadly attack persisted for over 15 minutes, and it resulted in the death of 58 individuals, with more than 850 people suffering injuries. After the incident, he was found dead, having taken his own life. The 2016 shooting at Pulse, a gay nightclub in Orlando, was the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history before the Las Vegas tragedy. The shooter, Omar Mir Sadiq Mateen, killed 49 people, injured 50, and pledged allegiance to ISIS during the attack. Although no evidence of communication with the terrorist group was found, American Muslims quickly condemned the incident, which remains the deadliest act of terror in the U.S. since 9/11. Virginia Tech University's campus massacre in 2007 is still the deadliest school shooting in U.S. history. The shooter Sung Hoi Cho, a Korean-American and a senior student, attacked the campus twice with a 2-hour interval between the attacks, killing 32 students and instructors and injuring 17 others. The perpetrator then committed suicide. In 2012, a shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut, resulted in the deaths of 20 students and 6 teachers. All the slain students were between the ages of 6 and 7. Prior to the attack, Adam Lanza killed his mother at their home. He later committed suicide as emergency responders arrived at the school. In November 2017, Devin Patrick Kelly, wearing tactical gear and carrying a semi-automatic rifle, opened fire at the First Baptist Church in Sutherland Springs, Texas, a small town near San Antonio. The attack claimed the lives of 26 parishioners, aged between 18 months to 72 years. Following a brief car chase, the shooter was found dead. This incident replaced the 2015 Charleston, South Carolina church shooting as the deadliest mass shooting at a place of worship in the U.S. The Luby's Cafeteria shooting occurred on October 16, 1991, in Killeen, Texas, when the perpetrator, George Hennard, drove his pickup truck through the restaurant's front window. Hennard killed 23 people and injured 27 others before engaging in a brief gunfight with the police. Although he was severely wounded, Hennard refused to surrender and instead killed himself. On August 3, 2019, 21-year-old Patrick Wood Cruzius was charged with capital murder for the shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas. According to the police, the shooter, who lived 650 miles away, had posted a racist anti-immigrant manifesto on 8chan, an online message board. The manifesto discussed a Hispanic invasion of Texas and transforming the state into a Democrat stronghold, and was published just 20 minutes before the attack. In 1984, 41-year-old James Huberty opened fire at a McDonald's restaurant in San Diego's San Ysidro district, killing multiple people, including an 8-month-old boy and a 9-year-old girl. A 4-month-old girl was also among the wounded. A San Diego SWAT team sniper, positioned on a nearby roof, ultimately shot the gunman, ending the rampage. The incident led to changes in how the police department handled mass shooter scenarios. An 18-year-old student by the name of Salvador Ramos opened fire at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, killing at least 19 children and 2 teachers on Tuesday. The victims were between the ages of 8 and 10. The shooter was shot and killed by law enforcement officials at the scene. The incident marks the deadliest mass shooting at a K-12 school since the Sandy Hook shooting in 2012. In 1966, Charles Joseph Whitman, a sniper, shot dozens of people from the University of Texas's Tower Observation Deck. The shooting lasted over 90 minutes, as police took cover and received help from armed students. The incident ended with the police killing the gunman. This led to the creation of SWAT teams and drew comparisons to the Las Vegas shooting due to the shooter's high position. In 2018, Nicholas Jacob Cruz, a 19-year-old former student, used at least one AR-15 to fatally shoot 17 people and injure 17 others, including students and adults. The shooter was charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. The tragedy prompted student survivors to become vocal advocates for gun control and launch the March for Our Lives movement. Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel called it a horrific situation and asked for community support for the affected families. In 2009, Needle Malik Hassan, a U.S. Army psychiatrist, shot and killed 13 people and injured over 24 others at Fort Hood, a military base in Texas. The gunman was shot by a civilian police sergeant, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. He was later sentenced to death and remains in prison. In 2014, the same base was hit by another shooting, which left 3 dead and 14 injured. In 2015, a health inspector and his wife, Syed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik, carried out a shooting at the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino, California, and planted 3 pipe bombs in the building. The couple were killed by police hours later, and investigations revealed that they were homegrown violent extremists inspired by foreign terrorist groups. In August 1986, a postal worker named Patrick Sherrill shot and killed 14 co-workers and injured 6 others at a post office in Edmond, Oklahoma, before taking his own life. The incident remains the deadliest workplace shooting in U.S. history and the deadliest shooting by a lone gunman in Oklahoma's history. The entire attack lasted less than 15 minutes. On April 20, 1999, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, 2 senior students at Columbine High School in Colorado, carried out a shooting and attempted bombing that killed 12 students and 1 teacher. The majority of the victims were killed in the school library, where Harris and Klebold later took their own lives. In total, 21 people were injured by gunfire, and 3 were injured while trying to escape. There was also gunfire exchanged between the police and the perpetrators. Jiverly Antares Wong, a 41-year-old naturalized American citizen from Vietnam, entered the American Civic Association Immigration Center in Binghamton, New York on April 3, 2009, and killed 13 people while wounding 4 others before committing suicide. Wong, who had recently lost his job, was reportedly taking classes at the center. He wore body armor during the attack. Howard Barton Unruh, a World War II veteran, carried out the deadliest mass shooting by a lone perpetrator in New Jersey on September 6, 1949. Unruh walked through his neighborhood in Camden and shot and killed 13 people in just 12 minutes in an incident known as the Walk of Death. He was later found to be criminally insane and spent 60 years in confinement. Unruh died in 2009 at the age of 88 after a lengthy illness. George Emil Banks, a former prison guard, carried out the 1982 Wilkes Barre shootings, a mass killing in Pennsylvania. On September 25, 1982, Banks fatally shot 13 people, including 7 children, 5 of whom were his own, their mothers, some of their relatives, and a bystander in Wilkes Barre and Jenkins Township. The incident remains the deadliest mass shooting in Pennsylvania's history. In 1983, multiple people were fatally shot by Quan Phi Willie Mack, Wai Shu Tony Eng, and Kyung Kin Benjamin Eng after being tied up at the Mee Club, a gambling spot in Seattle, Washington. According to news, one man survived and was able to testify against the 3 suspects arrested in connection with the incident. One of the convicted men, who was released on parole in 2014 after serving time for robbery and assault, was deported to Hong Kong. On July 2012, during a midnight screening of the movie The Dark Knight Rises, a mass shooting occurred inside a Century 16 movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. James Holmes, a 24-year-old man dressed in tactical clothing, opened fire on the audience with multiple firearms and set off tear gas grenades. The shooting resulted in 12 fatalities and 70 injuries, 58 of which were from gunfire. In 2018, a mass shooting occurred at the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks, California. The shooter, identified as 28-year-old Ian David Long, killed 12 people before dying of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Additionally, a police officer was accidentally killed by another officer during the incident, and 15 others were injured by incidental causes. Long was a Marine Corps veteran. Aaron Alexis, a 34-year-old civilian contractor, carried out a mass shooting at the headquarters of the Naval Sea Systems Command inside the Washington Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. on September 16, 2013. The shooting occurred in Building 197 and resulted in the deaths of 12 people, with an additional 3 people injured. The attack ended when Alexis was killed by police around 9:25 a.m. It is the deadliest mass shooting in D.C. history, and the second deadliest mass murder on a U.S. military base. In Virginia Beach, Dwayne Craddock, a 40-year-old public utility employee, killed 12 people and injured 4 more during a shooting rampage on multiple floors of a municipal center in May 2019. The gunman, who had worked there for 15 years, was armed with a semi-automatic pistol equipped with a sound suppressor and a rifle. He engaged in a gun battle with police before being shot dead at the scene. 11 of the victims were city employees. The deadliest attack on the Jewish community in the U.S. happened on October 27, 2018, when 46-year-old Robert Gregory Bowers, armed with an assault rifle and 3 handguns, entered the Tree of Life, or El Simcha Congregation Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, during Shabbat morning services. He killed 11 people, including Holocaust survivors, and wounded 6 others from 3 congregations that worshipped in the building. The attack is considered an anti-Semitic terrorist attack and one of the deadliest against the Jewish community in U.S. history. In 1975, the Easter Sunday Massacre occurred on Easter Sunday, where James Urban Ruppert killed 11 members of his family in his mother's house in Hamilton, Ohio. He was found guilty on 2 counts of aggravated murder, but was acquitted on 9 counts due to insanity. Ruppert received 2 life sentences, which were to be served consecutively at 2 different facilities. In 1982, Ruppert was found guilty of aggravated murder in a separate case involving his mother and brother. In May 2018, 17-year-old student Demetrios Pagortzis opened fire at Sante Fe High School in Texas, killing 10 people and injuring 13 others. The accused shooter, who was charged with capital murder, used a shotgun and a .38 caliber revolver belonging to his father. Authorities found a journal detailing his plan for the attack and suicide, but he was apprehended. Additionally, police found 4 pipe bombs at the school and a Molotov cocktail at the suspect's residence. On January 21, 2023, a gunman entered Star Ballroom Dance Studio in Monterey Park, California, during a Lunar New Year celebration and killed 10 people, while injuring 10 others. He then went to another dance hall, but was disarmed by a partygoer. The shooter, identified as Hu Can Tran, a 72-year-old Asian man, fled on foot, leading to a police manhunt. The next day, a SWAT team surrounded the suspect's van and found him dead from an apparent suicide. Michael Kenneth McClendon, 28, committed Alabama's deadliest mass shooting on March 10, 2009. Starting in Kinston, McClendon burned down his mother's house and killed her. He continued to Sampson, where he killed his maternal grandmother, uncle, 2 cousins, and others, wounding 6 people. McClendon was said to be depressed about lack of work and felt his mother's family was not supporting him. He committed suicide later on. On May 14, 2022, 10 black people were killed and 3 injured in a mass shooting at a Tops Friendly Market supermarket in Buffalo, New York. The shooter, Peyton S. Gendron, 18, live-streamed part of the attack on Twitch. He pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, but later pleaded guilty to all state charges, including murder, domestic terrorism, and hate crimes. On February 15, 2023, he was sentenced to 11 consecutive life sentences without parole. Federal charges are still ongoing. On March 22, 2021, a mass shooting at a Colorado supermarket resulted in the death of 10 people, including a police officer. The alleged shooter, 21-year-old Ahmad al-Aliwi al-Issa, was arrested after sustaining a gunshot wound to the right leg. He was hospitalized briefly before being transferred to county jail. Following mental evaluations during legal proceedings, al-Issa was deemed mentally unfit to stand trial in December 2021 and again in April 2022. There you have it. We hope you liked our video about 30 deadliest mass shootings in modern US history, and if you want more videos like this, please go see our channel and subscribe to see our lineup of interesting topics. Thanks for watching.